people. These are our countrymen. If I were white and saw one of these men get and I was in the NRA, why wouldn't I stand up for them? A card-carrying legal owner that gets murdered in cold blood because he's black. That's why they don't give a f. Later, a group of adult white men burst into this family's home and snatched a 14-year-old boy out of bed in front of his family that was powerless to stop them, and he was never seen alive again. His name was Emmet Till. If you could solve a black American's problems, this country would have no problems. He's so busy talking about pronouns and this, that, and the other, but this is a very basic wrong. They kidnapped us, they brought us here, they treated us like, and all the time that they did that, they were afraid that we would do what you would do in the same situation.
Dave Chappelle just dropped a truth bomb that stings harder than ever. He said, America doesn't hate loud black men. It hates smart black men, the ones who know how the system works, who try to get on the better side, and who aren't afraid to call it like it is. And let's be real, he's absolutely right. Every single time a black man starts thinking for himself, moving smart, and calling out the system for what it really is, they slap him with those same old labels. Crazy, difficult, dangerous. It's a tired trick that's been running for decades. Dave once said, the worst thing to call somebody is crazy. It's dismissive. I don't understand this person, so they're crazy. That's nonsense. These people are not crazy. They're strong people. Maybe the environment is a little sick. That line hits deep because it's exactly what happens when someone dares to break free from control. Society doesn't want truth tellers. It wants silence. And now look around. We've literally got Trump trying to erase parts of black history, like that order to remove the Scourged Back photo from a national exhibit, as if erasing the pain can rewrite the past.
On the president's orders, a photograph of a beaten slave is being removed from all national parks, including Harper's Ferry National Historic Park.
Called the Scourged Back, and it's also known as Whipped Peter.
It's chilling. Dave's words feel prophetic now, like he saw this coming from miles away. Let's not forget, this man walked away from $50 million just to keep his soul intact. They said he'd lost his mind, but he was just protecting his peace. He had to flee to Africa just to survive the madness.
What about people who say you're only interested in the Middle East for oil?
What? Huh? Oil? Who said something about oil, bitch? You cooking?
Not because he was unstable, but because the world around him was. Now we see the truth, plain as day. Dave Chappelle was never the crazy one. America just keeps breaking down every smart black man who dares to wake up and speak out. It's the same exact playbook Dave's been calling out since Chappelle's show.
This image, the Scourged Back, was printed and distributed across the entire country, becoming one of the most powerful anti-slavery weapons of the Civil War. Called him Whipped Peter. It completely destroyed the narrative that the South was trying to push, that slavery was humane. And for thousands of Northerners who had never seen or experienced the pure brutality of slavery with their own eyes, this image made it all real.
None of this is random, not even that wild Trump move. When Trump ordered the National Park Service to remove the Scourged Back photograph, one of the most powerful images showing the real brutality of enslavement, that wasn't just politics, it was a message. Why erase it? Because truth makes people uncomfortable. Because that image doesn't fit the polished version of history America keeps trying to sell. And that's exactly why the system keeps silencing, softening, and sanitizing the truth every chance it gets. But this isn't new. Trump's just the latest mask on a very old system. Every generation finds a new way to rewrite the story. First, they said slavery wasn't that bad. Then they tried to water down Dr. King, painting him like he was just about peace and love, while the government had him under 24/7 surveillance. Then came Malcolm X. They called him aggressive for simply demanding dignity and self-respect. The same cycle repeats, just dressed in new language every decade. And when Colin Kaepernick took a knee, quiet, respectful, and powerful, they twisted it into something it wasn't. They made it about the flag when it was never about the flag. It was about control. America can't stand seeing a calm, intelligent black man expose its contradictions on a public stage. When they tried to cancel Kaepernick and drag his name through the mud, Dave saw the double standard clearly.
Watch the tapes. Watch that crowd that told Colin Kaepernick he can't kneel during a football game, try to beat a police officer to death with an American flag. Look at that shit. What was Edward Snowden talking about? Who is the terrorist now that they're looking for? It's you, not me, not my black Muslim ass. It's you. Who are they militarizing the police for? They didn't call the National Guard on my black ass. It's you. That's what white people did. They felt what black people have been feeling for 400 years. For 30 minutes, stormed the Capitol and rubbed their shit on the walls. They carried a fucking Confederate flag through the rotunda. The Confederate Army didn't even do that. Motherfuckers, you went very far.
He compared how the nation treated peaceful protest versus chaos, and it was embarrassing. He said the same folks who called Kaepernick unpatriotic and told him to shut up and play were the ones storming the US Capitol like it was a game show prize. The hypocrisy couldn't be louder. America doesn't just rewrite history, it flips the truth upside down and dares you to believe it. They stormed the Capitol waving American flags and Confederate banners at the same time, screaming about freedom while literally beating police officers. The irony was insane, but Dave didn't just call out white America for that hypocrisy, he called out his own community too.
That's why I want to start a GoFundMe for Colin Kaepernick. I do, man. I'm fascinated with him. I want to make sure he never has to play football again. He can if he wants to. I just don't want him to have to. Because why the fuck not? I know he's rich and people will be like, I'm not giving a GoFundMe to a rich dude, but you should. You should. Because that motherfucker's life was going great. He's so light-skinned, he didn't even have to say he was black. And yet, he took a knee during that anthem for us. Thought about us when things were going good, when his belly was full, when he didn't think about his livelihood or any of that, and they took his livelihood away from him. I'm like, man, that shouldn't be the way it is. Every fucking person that takes a stand for somebody else always gets beat down, and we watch it. Over and over and over again, we watch it. But we should pay those motherfuckers for blowing the whistle.
He said too many black folks turned their backs on Colin Kaepernick when he needed them the most. Instead of standing beside him, some people started calling him divisive or said he was doing too much. And according to Dave, that right there is part of the sickness. The mindset that punishes smart, conscious black men for daring to step out of line. It's like we've been conditioned to silence our own truth tellers before the system even has to.
I thought you was my black brother. Why you ask me questions like that? Fine, I'll answer your stupid ass question. I feel like you guys keep trying to distract people when I'm focusing on other things, namely the moon. Yes, I said it, the moon. You win? You have a problem with that? You know what you should do? You should sanction me. Sanction me with your army. Oh, wait a minute. You don't have an army. I guess that means you need to shut up. That's what I do if I didn't have no army. I would shut up. Shut the up. That's right.
And for his regime. The United States is ready, willing, and able, but hopefully this will not be necessary. That's what the United Nations is all about. That's what the United Nations is for.
We attack the ones brave enough to speak up, and in doing so, we end up helping the same machine that's been silencing us for centuries. That's the real trap, and that's exactly why Dave's voice hits so hard, because he doesn't let anyone off the hook. He forces America, both white and black, to look in the mirror and face its reflection.
Never left this property, have you, Mr. Bixby?
No, sir, not in many years.
What if I were to tell you that you are an African American?
Sir, listen, I'm gonna make this clear. I'm in no way, shape, or form involved in any negative. You understand?
Even when it's ugly. And what's wild is how his words still sound just as sharp now as they did 20 years ago when Chappelle's show first aired. Back then, the name in power was Bush. Now it's Trump. But the playbook? Identical. Same system, different faces. People used to watch Chappelle's show thinking it was just hilarious, but Hollywood and the power players saw something deeper. That show wasn't just comedy. It was rebellion wrapped in laughter. It was truth-telling disguised as entertainment. Sketches like Black Bush and Clayton Bigsby weren't just jokes. They were mirror reflections of America's double standards, and that's exactly why they feared him. Those sketches weren't just jokes, they were weapons. They exposed hypocrisy, dragged politicians, and made everyone in the audience face ugly truths about race, class, and power in America.
So I got ahead of schedule, and I bounced. And I didn't tell anybody where I was going. The whole time, they're trying to convince me I'm insane. They were trying to get me to take psychotic medication. Yeah, Like I'm sitting around, I was stressed out, but the people that were telling me I was insane, I believe that they knew what was going on. So, this was troublesome.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not taking this medicine, man, because I know these people be trying to control you or maybe discredit you. I was afraid,
But you were stressed out. That's why.
There's no question. But it's very stressful for someone to constantly walk behind you and say, you're insane.
And you know what kind of comedy scares executives the most? The kind that can't be controlled. The kind that bites back. That's exactly what Chappelle's show was. Dangerous honesty wrapped in laughter. So when Hollywood came knocking with that flashy $50 million deal, they thought Dave would fold like everyone else. But he didn't. He refused to sell his voice. And that's when everything shifted. The pressure started pouring in from every direction. Suddenly, the same media that praised him started calling him unstable. Studios whispered behind his back, trying to paint him as crazy. They even tried to force him onto antipsychotic medication.
When we did Blue Streak, we were promoting it, and Martin had a stroke. He almost died. And then after that, I saw him, and I was like, oh my God, Martin, are you okay? And he said, I got the best sleep I ever got in my life. That's how tough he is. So let me ask you this. What is happening in Hollywood that a guy that tough will be on the street waving a gun, screaming, they are trying to kill me?
Yeah.
What's going on? Why is Dave Chappelle going to Africa? Why does Mariah Carey make a $100 million deal and take her clothes off on TRL? A weak person cannot get to sit here and talk to you. Ain't no weak people talking to you. So what is happening in Hollywood? Nobody knows.
Imagine that. A man tells the truth and their answer is to medicate him into silence. But Dave didn't bend. He stood firm, even when it meant walking away from millions.
I have a question for the audience. And this is a real question. I'm not joking around. Is it possible that a gay person can be... Do you really think so? Of course it's possible. Look at Mike Pence. No, I'm guessing, but I bet you he's gay. And he's not Pride Parade gay either. He's sad gay. Feel bad for him. He looks like one of them gays that prays about it. Jesus, please take these dirty feelings out of my heart. Please, Jesus, make these buttholes ugly to me. I don't want to keep on tasting these. To be honest with you, I've been trying to repair my relationship with the transgender community because I don't want them to think that I don't like them. And you know how I've been repairing it? I wrote a play. I did, because I know that gays love plays. It's a very sad play, but it's moving. It's about a black transgender woman whose pronoun is sadly. It's a tearjerker. At the end of the play, she dies of loneliness because white liberals don't know how to speak to her. Sad. All of us, do better next time. Do not forget your humanity, and please have empathy for displaced people, whether they're in the Palisades or Palestine. Thank you very much, and good night.
That decision wasn't just about rejecting a paycheck. It was about rejecting control. He knew that once you let them own your mind, the money doesn't mean a thing.
I like working for Netflix because when all those bad things happened to me, that company didn't even exist. And when I found out they were streaming Chappelle's show, I was furious. How could they not know? So you know what I did? I called them and I told them that this makes me feel bad. And do you want to know what they did? They agreed that they would take it off their platform just so I could feel better. That's why I fuck with Netflix, because they paid me my money, they do what they say they're gonna do, and they went above and beyond what you could expect from a businessman. They did something just because they thought that I might think that they were wrong. And I do.
And the fact that he had to leave the country, literally escape to Africa without even telling his own family, shows how real the danger felt. That wasn't paranoia, that was survival instinct. Dave had seen what happens to outspoken black men who refuse to bow down. Remember when Martin Lawrence ran into the street yelling, "They're trying to kill me"? Everyone laughed, but Dave didn't. He understood exactly what that meant. Martin wasn't crazy. He was pushed to the edge by the same pressure, the same industry games, the same silent threats that break people down. So when Dave finally came back from Africa, he wasn't returning as a comedian chasing fame.
I'm Team Turf. I agree, man. Gender is a fact. You have to look at it from a woman's perspective. Look at it like this. Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person. Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit. She's better than all of you. Never even had a period. Ain't that something? Oh, I'd be mad as shit if I was a woman. I'd be mad if I was me. If I was in a BET Awards sitting there and they're like, and the winner for Nigger of the Year, Eminem, my man.
He came back as a man with a message. He wasn't just cracking jokes anymore. He was using comedy like a sword, cutting straight through the lies and forcing the world to listen. Whether he's calling out cancel culture, exposing hypocrisy in the media, or revealing how America still treats its citizens differently depending on skin color, Dave has always used comedy like a mirror, forcing people to face the truth they'd rather ignore. His jokes hit nerves because they aren't just funny, they're fearless. Every punchline hides a message, and that's what separates him from everyone else. When he teamed up with Netflix, something changed forever. For the first time, Dave wasn't under a network's thumb. No advertisers to please, no executives whispering in his ear, just full creative control.
Dave Chappelle was decapitated in front of us. They called him Pilot Boy because he had 19 pilots in Hollywood and everybody passed on him and said his show wasn't worth it. Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are gonna say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. He got on a flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, it was so.
That freedom meant he could finally speak his mind on race, politics, and culture without anyone cutting the mic. And people weren't ready for it. Some in the media tried to spin it as scandal, saying Dave had crossed the line. But if you really watch closely, you'll see the truth. It was never about the jokes. It was about his refusal to bow down. He wouldn't let anyone tell him what to think, what to say, or how to say it. And that's real power. Just like Cat Williams once said, they call you crazy when you stop letting them control you. And look at them both now, still standing tall, still untouchable. They rose above all the noise, proving that truth can't be canceled, no matter how hard the system tries. So what's the lesson here? Be careful with the truth, because in this world, truth is always the first thing labeled crazy. Dave Chappelle showed us that speaking out might cost you money, comfort, or even peace, but it's the only way to stay free. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think about Dave Chappelle and his role in exposing Hollywood's dirty secrets? Do you believe he's still the same man he was before that trip to Africa? And do you think any black man can challenge the gatekeepers and live to tell the tale? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like, subscribe, and share button, and I'll see you in the next one.